Now this is just the figure that the Lego and also Potterhead audience had been longing for ever since the pictures for this set were unveiled in 2018. I believe it is probably everyone's favourite, mostly due to this new hairpiece. Well, it was new in 2018. It was near the end of 2018 when the first wave of Harry Potter sets was officially released. He's wearing a dark grey shirt, which is usually covered by a black robe in the first two films, at least traditionally. Each of these shirts is different depending upon which house you are in. Gryffindor tie and shirt with the stripes in yellow and red. Well, actually gold and red, but yellow and red doesn't make much of a difference. You might also notice the wands being special because they are shorter now. I don't think that the hairpiece has actually been done in another colour than black. This is 2020, the beginning of 2020. And what's interesting is that these wands, these short ones, which I've just introduced, they come in pairs, so you get two of each. This is a dark brown wand, which suits the wand from the first two films and also the last six. Harry has an entirely different wand, design-wise, but apart from that, the colour approach didn't change. So the colour is still identifiable as the same from the third movie and on. Hedwig is also included in this set and is well, more or less an accessory or a pet to Harry. And the printing has actually remained quite unchanged, I believe, since this owl was used with a print. The print didn't change, I believe. So this is still the old Lego Hedwig, and it was, of course, absolutely gorgeous and perfect, this mold. And Lego is also going to release a new Hedwig piece with spread wings. Another thing that I'd like to mention, apart from the lightning-shaped scar, you can actually see that this scar is revealed intentionally by a little gap in the mold of the hairpiece. Harry's glasses, I might like to point out, they are actually they are printed with silver. Very, very laudable. Let's move on to my first comparison in this video. So this is a comparison of the 2010 or also 2011 Harry Potter and the 2018, late 2018 first new Lego Harry Potter wave Harry. And of course the greatest difference, I think, is the size. So the legs have been shortened. They're properly scaled now. So this version of Harry was actually used for Harry at different stages in his growth, and so Lego decided to use short legs for the first and second years, and then continues with the medium-sized legs and then the long legs from year 5 and on, I believe. So the long legs are these. And of course the change in the hairpiece can also be witnessed, and Harry's old hairpiece, I believe, was also very accurate at the time, and incredibly accurate actually, because that was 2001, but I believe that hairpiece had been used for Anakin Skywalker, young Anakin Skywalker, the first wave of Lego Star Wars with those yellow faces. It all started out, and that piece was recolored to suit Harry, and it was genuinely perfect. Yet, of course, so this new one is actually much more accurate, much more special, and the wand is also a great change. But of course, I've also explained that before, and the V-neck, the print here, the V-neck print, that has been changed. It's actually a smaller V-neck now on the shirt, and this shield, the Gryffindor logo, has been removed from the torso just to simplify it and make it more universal, perchance. This was a universal Hermione used for all of the 7 years and 8 films. And this new Hermione is, of course, the young Hermione. But the hairpiece is incredibly stunning. The new version of Hermione's hairpiece is perfectly suitable for the first 2 films, and it is also a special new mold. At least it was a special new mold in late 2018, and it was, of course, made just for Hermione, like Harry's was made for him. In the old Harry Potter waves, it was this rather popular, not incredibly curly, but very generally very popular female hairpiece, but it suited the older Hermione, so it looks very nice from the back. It, of course, differs from the hairstyle that Hermione had in her younger years when she first attended Hogwarts, and that was a sort of more ruffled hair and less controlled, refined. That is the new wand type for Hermione in this nougat colour. And of course, she is one of the most inspiring characters. These are Harry's and Hermione's alternate expressions. Both of them scared, and they look impressive. This is a short comparison of Ronald Bilious Weasley. It's Hermione Jean Granger, by the way. And on the left, you can see the tall variant, 2011, 10, with the wonderful hairpiece that was selected. It is still incredibly popular today. It's used for Harry in the minifigure series. Ron on the right, it's an existing hairpiece in this case, which is, I suppose, an exception in the Golden Trio, but it works very well still. The major improvement is the rat in this case. That is definitely a major improvement. The older rat was just light grey, and it was an ancient piece, and now it's finally been modernized. It's been time for such a long time, really, to give us a new rat finally. And Lego Harry Potter gave Lego that that opportunity, and Lego seized it, and I think they can be quite proud of their new rat mold. The actor portraying Ron, Rupert Grint, is actually well known for his facial expressions, and this is also seen in the figures. Yes, this is a scared Ron from 2010-11, and this is a scared Ron from 2018. But I think it's just perfect as a horrified expression. Famous Harry Potter can't even walk into a bookshop without making the front page. These are the representations of Draco Malfoy, and I was quite pleased with the original version, as I was with Hermione and Ron and Harry. They had really great hair pieces, and the modern choices are very well done as well. I shall show you the different face expressions. You can see the smirk. It's actually on Malfoy's left side now. The wand colour actually being relatively accurate for the old version. They used to give characters from Slytherin darker ones simply because, you know, they were on the dark side. It's interesting that they put the Slytherin logo there, as they did for Gryffindor. Maybe I missed the Slytherin logo a bit, and it's easier to recognise the t-shirts. Well, they're not t-shirts, the shirts. These grey shirts that they wear, with the ties being one of the only indicators of what house the characters are in. A word about the hair colour. The modern Draco on the right has a cold yellow, which is a rare colour. Very nice to see that. But there is a debate about whether it is accurate. You can distinguish it from the flesh colour of their heads and hands. So, yes, Draco has also got a worried expression, or, well, this is not worried, this is sick. You know, when he falls off his broom, or, you know, when he's afraid. The new version has a sneer and a frown. Not a lot of people really like this one. I don't like it particularly, but I'm pleased with it. I don't think it's a bad addition to Draco. And they both look rather splendid. Except for the hairpiece. I actually wish that they'd done that in this tan colour, because it would have suited just the pigments of hair much more than this cold yellow. But of course, Draco's hair is lighter in his younger years. A seemingly randomly thrown in choice of figure. Susan Bones is this, and not Ginny Weasley. Interestingly, many people suspected that. Lego probably put her into this set for two reasons. The first is that there might be more than two, obviously, but, well, she's a Hufflepuff, so we'll get a Hufflepuff uniform, which is rather splendid. She also is the fifth young newcomer to the school and attends Hogwarts for the first time with the others. If you read the books, you'll learn a little more about her in Order of the Phoenix when she joins Dumbledore's army. This is a highly anticipated duo for this wave. These are Albus Percival, Wulfric Brian Dumbledore, and Rubeus Hagrid, Keeper of Keys and Grounds at Hogwarts. This is the printing on Dumbledore's torso from the front. It is very intricate and ornate, and you can see there is actually a pattern that is, you can barely make it out if you can't properly see it, but there it is, woven into this robe, and there's a pattern in the front here, and his golden belt buckle is quite prominent. His beard initially served as Gandalf's from Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit sets, and it serves him rather well. I personally believe that Lego selected the right pieces for creating him, and for the sake of comparison, I am forced to rely upon a picture from a visual dictionary of Harry Potter minifigures. Of course, a vast difference, because the original Dumbledore, that, you know, it was actually the very first version that was ever made of Dumbledore, and that was Richard Harris. And that is how he has stayed in our minds, as Richard Harris, and maybe even yellow-faced. Dumbledore has two different faces, not really expressions. This one doesn't wear glasses. That is actually the main difference. And you can see that there's a little bit of a white part of the beard in this version. And the older Dumbledore had a cape, as you can see. He also had this trademark, walrus beard, you could nearly say. It was certainly very characteristic. Of course, Lego altered that, and the result is very accurate. Dumbledore also carries a wand, which is naturally it's Dumbledore's wand, which is, of course, a great highlight. The colour can be debated whether this is the correct colour for Dumbledore's short wand. This has always been used as Dumbledore's, although the only thing that I would wish for is, of course, a Snow White beard, which is about to come in, at least at the time of this video, the newly announced minifigure series 2 for Lego Harry Potter. For Hagrid, I can rely upon a physical comparison, and you can obviously spot the differences. The beard, it's slightly, you can bend it slightly, and it's black. So, well, let me show it this way. That's it. And Hagrid has similar faces, actually, but the newer one to the left is more accurate. The construction that is involved in this giant problem, which has to be solved somehow with some new pieces. And the mold for the older Hagrid, here on the right this time, it was just, the body was just one mold, but it had really good prints, I think. And the prints, well, they don't really change much, just the colour combination, but apart from that, the idea behind the prints is the same, and the idea behind the faces and the beards, it stays the same. You might notice this very nice umbrella, which comes with the new Hagrid, and then a brick-built umbrella in the Diagonale exclusive set, which has rather interesting idea behind it. The new lantern I like very much, and it's a great improvement to the old one. Actually, the lanterns look, ironically, a little more square to me in the clips of the films. And here it's, well, Lego chose a combination of two pieces. One was existing and the frame was new, and so Lego developed this piece and they cast it in this gunmetal grey. Very nice colour for this, but of course it was actually black, you know. But apart from the lantern, the umbrella, and of course the colours, Hagrid has a different construction. So it's fundamentally different, and it's fundamentally, well, a bit revolutionary. So you actually start with a pair of children's legs. So that's it, these are the mini legs. And then you put that in here, and you attach the arms both of them this way. So there's actually a Technic pinhole in there, which has to be filled. And that's it. It actually serves the purpose of being closer to what Lego is supposed to be. It's a construction toy, and they don't just give you one large bulky piece like the old one on the right. I actually prefer the colour scheme of the old Hagrid on the right, and the beard, I believe it could have been black, I think, but it's difficult to say, but I think in the end it's better in brown. And as the coat colour, he could have had the old... but generally, I'm very pleased with both Hagrids, and both are incredibly well done, I think, and acceptable. What's a little odd about the old one is that the hands are actually... they're detailed because they have fingers. So that's something peculiar. But remember, this Hagrid, this one on the right, was released in 2001. I mean, the mold and the idea of Hagrid was developed then and released then. So it was rather early. Let's have a biscuit with Professor McGonagall. Dear Minerva has a brand new outfit here, and she also has movable legs, actually, in the new version. So these are just normal, long minifigure legs. And this is in contrast to the older version, which just had this 2x2x2 rock-like piece in green. But the colour is the same of both, at least as far as I can see that. And only the hat is different in terms of colour, really. And the wand, but that's just a slight change. I don't see McGonagall's wand as black. Although, I don't remember it. But the hats are different in the sense that, you know, one matches the original colour scheme of the dress, and this one doesn't. This one doesn't have a feather either. But none of these two hats do. They should have some kind of new mould with a hole in it to poke well, it's not incredibly outdated, but an older feather piece. It's not the one that the students use for writing in the new wave, but it's a more natural looking feather in dark orange, I believe it should be. It's a phoenix-like feather that she has in her hat. And that I like very much as a fashion touch. Professor McGonagall had an interesting issue, actually. Oh, well, you needn't call it that. But the dress colour didn't line up with the torso colour. Not really. For the old version on the right. And well, I mean, it is still both this dark green, but there is light green printing on the torso here. To be quite honest, I actually prefer the older McGonagall from 2010. I know, but I also have my preferences. Of course, I grew up with this McGonagall. The printing, of course, is mesmerising. I personally don't like the fact that McGonagall has an alternate face expression, actually, in the new version. And Lego removed that in the Advent calendar. They gave us a new McGonagall with just one face expression. The hat colour is, of course, more accurate, but McGonagall had the same hat colour as the dress colour in later films. So, actually, this is a very accurate figure on the right, even though it is older. The cape I could live without, but I like capes. poor stuttering Professor Quirrell is, I think, altogether splendidly done, and the printing, even though there is little, is definitely accurate. But of course, there is a special print involved here. This is an interesting story, but it's also a spoiler if you haven't read or seen the first Harry Potter. I shall remove the turban, and, well, I personally was a little bit appalled. That was my first reaction to this face. But the print looks good, and if you compare it to the reference material, it is definitely spot on. Only it's not incredibly reminiscent of something that you are familiar with, which looks more Voldemort-like, which is the older version of Quirrell from 2001. One of the earliest figures ever, like Dumbledore. That was a similar principle, and the first minifigure with two faces, literally in this case, was Professor Quirrell. And interestingly, Professor Quirrell influenced the existence of those two face expressions that we have now. Professor Quirrell redefined certain principles in terms of minifigures. You can have more than just one face expression. How revolutionary is that? You can argue whether the colour scheme of the turban is accurate, but it is usually the tone in those films is, even though it is, of course, very bright, Lego tends to brighten things up a little more. But the turban, I think, is accurate. The older one had an entirely different colour, but it was close, not all too close, but it was close to the film. Ghosts are, as you know, are hopefully aware, the imprints of a departed soul. And as Potter so wisely tells us, transparent. A quote from Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. And I do miss Snape's presence in this set. I wish he'd been included. But Sir Nicholas de Mimsy Porpington offers some consolation, and is definitely a perfect choice for this set, for the Great Hall, because the ghosts really define the Great Hall and Hogwarts. When we were first presented with this setting, and we always wanted a Sir Nicholas, and I think there have been many custom Sir Nicholas de Mimsy Porpingtons, or nearly headless Nicks. Generally, the printing is rather good on this one. It is actually very, very exquisite if you take a look at it. It's not always exact, but there are some lines, sometimes a little random, just silver ones, to, show that it's transparent. And it works very well. This is the white instead of that pale tan colour that all minifigures have. Of course, I ought to not only praise the printing, but show you the alternate expression. It's a sad one, and it's rather good. John Cleese is, I suppose he's considered a laugh, and Nearly Headless Nick is also generally considered a laugh, and very nice portrayal. Though very short, but he is worthy of a Lego representation.